Welcome guys to Peabutnutterninja and a very special look at low-level Dreadnaught PvE gameplay. The Dreadnaught is also known as the tank, the Juggernaut, and Who's Your Daddy by some. As the Dreadnaught reaches the current max level of 15, they unlock a lot of cool skills, some of which we'll talk about later in the PvP video. However, they are not specifically showcased in this low-level gameplay, but they definitely will be in the future. So guys, stay posted to my channel and you will see something very, very cool. So in comparison to other classes, Dreadnoughts start with around 1600 HP compared to 1400 HP for an assault, 1200 for a medic and engineer, and 1000 HP for recon. So let's look at the basics of dreadnoughting. This dreadnought starts with a level 1 minigun that has an alt fire with a shield that is utterly useless in PvE. And PvE so far in this game mainly consists of thumping, and briefly guys, thumping is mining for ore and resources so you can build weapons and equipment. In fact, collecting ore and minerals are vital to your progression and strengthening of your weapons and armors to buff your damage, health, increase your damage reduction, accuracy, decrease your reload speed, and so on. So you will need to, I guess, craft or thump in this game and if you want to progress the normal progression route. So you'll see that as level 1, you start with that pew 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 minigun with the 130 ammo clip, and throughout the video you can see that the aiming reticle quickly turns to the size of the moon if you keep your trigger finger on that mouse button. And you can also see that the reload time is excruciating, lasting up to 5 seconds. And each bullet only does 52 damage starting, so when you're chasing down enemies that generally have 500 HP and 1500 HP, the bullets don't go very far. And you also notice that as I try to snipe some of these critters here, the minigun is very tough to snipe with, so that further decreases your damage against far spawning mobs. But there is a benefit though to fighting close range with a minigun, and that's namely mobs tend to drop crystite and sometimes items that would be only lootable if you're close. So if you decide to be a Dreadnought in PvE, be sure to gobble up that crystite. But where the Dreadnought does excel is gunning out these big sons of bitches right here, gunning down these large bosses with huge amounts of life in a target area about the size of a barn. So while these bosses are very rare right now in closed beta, they will eventually introduce bigger and better weapons, bigger and better enemies, so keep that in mind when you're leveling one of these big bad dreadnoughts. But in the future you also have better weapons, accuracy upgrades, secondary weapons, so you won't be so limited to the in-your-face point blank gunning, and possibly, you know, be capable of semi-sniping some of these guys out here. So here you can see I'm crouching trying to get some long distance fire on my enemies. The Dreadnought truly fails in long range sniping, as you can imagine. I barely hit the enemies even when burst firing a short burst and keeping the target reticle focused and small. But by the time I get too many hits off, the mobs are already killed off by my assault or sniper. So here we're looking at the Dreadnought's mobbing ability and special ability. So since the minigun is a single bullet non-piercing round with no AoE, it doesn't necessarily have the best set of traits to kill massive mobs. You can see the assault come in, blast half my mobs while I fire away. So now we're cut away to a gorgeous nighttime frame to showcase two more things: the spin-up minigun, which drastically improves aim and rate while initially shooting, and turret mode, which you just saw there. She sets up like a turret, increases your rate of fire, and increases your aim drastically. So, but there is a huge downside to it. While in turret mode, you're only limited to a 90-degree arc in front of you, and it also makes you an extremely easy target for snipers in PvP. So while I like the idea of turret mode, the range of motion and delay time in setting up is not really useful or helpful in PvP, except in these rare cases where you do fight these boss. As you see me just tear this guy a new asshole right there. Oh god, that guy is going down so fast. Yep. So turret mode, very limited usefulness, but in summary, the Dreadnought is still very powerful in PvP. It still packs a punch, but if you only like mining, if you only want to thump, there are better classes, and that'll lead us to our Dreadnought PvE summary coming up very shortly. After we lose this thumper, oh no, a lot of resources lost. You can see that Darth Pixel bites the dust there, and we are just managing barely to survive. I'm taking a ton of damage. Luckily, I'm healed by that med station there. So here is our Dreadnaught PvE summary as we drown in the water. So high single target damage output, lack of splash damage AoE, lack of bullet penetration, lack of range and long reload, secondary skills practically useless, no mobbing skills besides getting hit. So it only receives a 2.5 out of 5 rating for PvE, guys. And there are much better classes. I mean, if you want to stay as Dreadnaught for PvE, it certainly is possible just because it's such high single damage target output. But in the end, guys, it's not the best. Alright, thanks guys for watching. Signing off, Peabutnutterninja!
So much blood.